Persona 5 is the long-awaited sequel to the Persona series that we asked for. Delay after delay, heartbreak after heartbreak, it's finally in our hands. As you know, I may have hyped this video game up a ridiculous amount on my channel, and so did many others. The game sees the returning talent of former modern series director Katsura Hashino, series composer Shoji Meguro, and modern series artist Shingori Sawajima to deliver another unique JRPG experience. But does Persona 5 meet our expectations, or does it fall flat due to the sheer amount of pressure and anticipation for this title alone? Well, only one way to find out. Let us take a look, shall we? Persona 5 is a JRPG game much like its predecessors. In fact, Persona 5 is very much like its modern and original predecessors. It brings elements from both generations of the Persona franchise and makes a very interesting and unique combination that fans old and new can appreciate. Along with a few skill types such as Sai and Nuclear making a series comeback, we also see the return of guns and demon negotiations, which are a welcome return from the original two games, and by extension the Megami Tensei Father series. The combat still utilizes the One More Time system, which should be familiar with any Persona fan, but in case you aren't, the One More Time system is where you exploit the enemy's weakness to get in another hit. While some may think this is an oversimplification of the press turn system from the modern Shin Megami Tensei games that waters down the difficulty, I am going to have to respectfully disagree. While you can definitely cheese the opponent's weaknesses, it doesn't break the game considering that the enemies in this game can hit you back with the same system. Another fun part of it is that new enemies you encounter have weaknesses hidden from you, so that you have to play a game of testing the waters with risk and reward, of using different attacks on your enemies to see whether they're resistant to something or weak to something. The demon negotiation is slightly more improved from mainline, where it was mostly try and guess and hope the demon reacts favorably. Persona 5's negotiations definitely have that feeling of luck behind it, however it's not as sporadic as, let's say, Nocturne. There are also various skills and personas you can unlock in the game depending on who you socialize with. One of these skills that I enjoy a lot is called the Warning Shot. To start a negotiation, you simply have to knock down all the enemies and hold them up to either ask them to lend you their power, or extort them for money, items, or just straight up gang up on them while they're down. The game follows standard turn-based affairs. If your teammates attack, then your opponents get a turn. My biggest problem with this is there really appears to be no rhyme or reason for which one of your teammates get to attack in what order. Unlike the earlier Persona games where you could set up your team arrangements. The preemptive strike, where you get to ambush the enemy, is changed in a rather unique way in this game. Unlike Persona 3 and 4, where you simply swing at a shadow's back, you can actually ambush the enemy using your stealthy thieving techniques. Which brings me to the next part of the game, the stealth mechanics. While they do work for the most part, they can be very finicky and have some annoying issues that make it hard to move from cover to cover. Unlike a game like Deus Ex Mankind Divided, where you can actually walk behind the cover you're at, you have to do this awkward, weird leap. And while it looks cool, it unfortunately can get really annoying to mess with, to the point where it almost doesn't feel like it's worth it to even use the stealth mechanic in the first place. And sometimes cover jumps that would work in certain scenarios wouldn't work in others, and it just gets very aggravating trying to maneuver through various stealth sections. By the end of the day, however, the stealth usually isn't really required as long as you're prepared to battle a lot. The dungeons in this game are definitely a step up from its predecessors, being actually designed and unique from each other, instead of procedurally generated, retextured hallways. The dungeons are fun and unique to go through, offering a wide array of interesting puzzles to solve. Some dungeons can be very tedious, but all rewarding with various chests and hidden goodies to make exploring worth it. The optional bonus dungeon in the game is called Mementos, and it is a welcome addition in my eyes. It is procedurally generated and feels much like the rest of the older Persona games. Despite this, it doesn't feel too much like a drag to traverse through. It throws a ton of unique enemies, abstract designs, and goofy dialogue between the characters. The one thing that can make it boring, however, is the never-ending, repeating theme of Mementos, which will drive many people insane. Not myself included. The way they should have handled it is like in Persona 3 FES, where you could change the song via MP3 player. Why couldn't you just do it like in Morgana's car radio, or maybe CDs you could rent or something? I don't know. It's very weird they didn't include a jukebox system like in Catherine, which was just a tech demo for Persona 5. But I digress. The demons/personas are supernatural creatures who represent fictitious and religious characters from various cultures. A majority of the designs are done by Kazuma Kaneko, the series' former lead artist, which translates extremely well into the art style of P5 with the unique shading that they possess. The main personas and villains are all designed by Shinigori Soejima, and they all look unique and fit each other's personalities spot on. The various demons you encounter in the dungeons can be brought into the series staple that is the Velvet Room, where you can fuse demons to make stronger demons, or make items, or skill cards, or sacrifices to buff up other demons. The Compendium also returns, which allows you to register demons/personas to buy them back later, or just to have a completion goal. The Velvet Room also has the returning Igor and his two new assistants, the Velvet Twins, Caroline and Justine, who both feed off each other's opposite personalities to absolutely abuse the MC. Certain personas can be unlocked through the game's other half, the social aspect. Much like the other modern Persona games, social links make a comeback in the form of confidants, which work the exact same way as social links. Confidants are people you encounter throughout your journey that you can interact with and become friends with. There are a total of 21 confidants, each representing an arcana of the tarot, who each have 10 ranks that you must complete in order to max out their friendship to gain a unique skill and an ultimate persona of that respective arcana. The characters range from the everyman to the calm, collected individual, but all follow a central theme of breaking free from the shackles of what society expects from you, and standing up to an injustice. These confidants also unlock missions for you to do in Mementos, where you can use your Phantom Thief abilities to right the wrongs of the various Tokyo citizens. You can do these confidants alongside with part-time jobs, playing games, watching movies, fishing, playing ball, throughout each day in the game, which can help you raise money, raise your social stats, or to further your confidants. Days in the game have about 2 time slots to do activities. Some events can be accessed during certain time slots, and it's this time management that I find very interesting and fun. Oh, and the music. Let's not forget the music. Composer Shoji Meguro really pulls out all of his tricks with this soundtrack. The music genre selected for this title was acid jazz, a genre made popular by bands like Jamiroquai, Incognito, and many others. The lyrical tracks, as always, is where this OST really shines. My favorite songs being the main theme Wake Up, Get Out There, Last Surprise, Rivers in the Desert, and With the Stars and Us. But that's not to say the rest of the OST isn't bad. In fact, it's probably one of the best OSTs Shoji has ever composed. Even the background tracks, such as My Homie and the Persona Evoke theme, all fit the tone of each situation it's in. The art direction as well is one of the series' best. Soejima returns as character designer while the UI end of things are handled by someone else. But let me tell you, despite the different artists working on this project, the art direction comes together seamlessly, providing a truly unique, never-before-seen JRPG. The menus are fully animated and really feel alive. All the UI and accompanying background art have a very urban, graffiti feel to all of it, while the character designs feel natural and make sense. Soejima's ability to seamlessly make characters blend into the background while also standing out is really amazing, and I commend his abilities to do so. Oddly enough, the story starts out near the end of the game during a big heist, only to result in our hero being captured. Very reminiscent of Sly 3, which has almost the exact same setup at the beginning. After this, we jump back and forth between the past and present events through the course of the game, until, of course, where you are caught up with where the beginning took place. We follow the main character, a coy personality type who gets caught in a troublesome situation because he tried to do something right. Now his life has been flipped, turned upside down. He moves to Shibuya to live with his family friend to go to a new school where he gets caught in a sticky situation, where he gains the ability of a persona and a phantom thief. He quickly learns from Morgana, the cat mascot character of the game, that you can change corrupt people's hearts and desires by going into a dimension in the shadow world called the Metaverse, where people's desires manifest in forms of grand palaces. In these palaces, you infiltrate the place, ransacking your way through until you reach the treasure of said person. Well, not before fighting a boss, that is. Then after that person is changed, you get away with it for at least a little while. You meet a wide array of interesting characters, all with their own hardships and unique personalities. No two characters really feel the same, and the stakes raise higher and higher with each passing dungeon. I won't get too much into the detail about the plot because really it's something you should experience on your own. There are some common tropes throughout the stories, such as the obligatory beach scene, but it also does make for some fun character development. One thing I appreciate about this game is how much the characters really feel like friends. With Persona 3, they really just seem like acquaintances who really knew each other just from work. And Persona 4, well, Persona 4 is really just something else. I don't know what that was. But the main characters in this game really interact with each other very well. Each one getting their own lines in almost every scene, no character feels like the odd one out, and I really appreciate that. And there are some twists and turns, and some more obvious than others. Some people say the few twists that are in this game fall flat on their face, but I have to kind of disagree with them. Each twist is slightly obvious and you can see it coming from a mile away, but that's not the part I find interesting. The part I find interesting is really just seeing how all the characters react to said twists in the story. Many people say the ending to this game also sets up a sequel, but not in the slightest. Sure, there will be the inevitable arena game or spin-off that'll continue the story, but as a standalone piece, it wraps itself up pretty tightly. There's like probably one question that's left unanswered, which is obviously set up for an arena game, but not for another full-scale Persona game. So, was Persona 5 the game we've been waiting for? Absolutely. Is it the best game ever made? Absolutely not. And that's why I think a lot of fans were kind of disappointed with this title. They were expecting the game to be something it could never be. There could never be such a thing as a perfect, one brilliant game out there. It's like saying there's such a thing as a perfect song or book or movie. It's unreasonable. But Persona 5 fulfills exactly what it sets out to do. It sets out to tell a coming-of-age story with a strong message about growing up in a society that feels like it's stacked against you. The game is a step up from its predecessors, and that's really all I ever wanted. That's why I give Persona 5 a 9.5 out of 10. If you want more games like Persona 5, I definitely recommend picking up Persona 3 and 4, maybe even the first 3 games if you're truly curious. But the other game I strongly recommend is Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne, which was also directed by Katsura Hashino. In fact, there are quite a few references in Nocturne in this game, which is really cool, and I'm glad Hashino did such. But unfortunately, Hashino has since left the Persona series to pursue his new series, Project ReFantasy, which I hope is going to be as imaginative and fun as Persona 5 was, while improving on what Persona 5 has done. Well, until next time, this is Rtyuiope from Rtyuiope's Game Room, signing off.